improve things and get on there. Companies you want to look for, there's a company called Sandforce. It's one of the few startups I know in Silicon Valley who's really hiring people. They have a controller for flash memory that can actually take flash and use it as an enterprise storage product. PowerAssure, they control servers and storage systems in data centers. SnapSense does a map of your data center by the weather, the temperature, the pressure, the heat, and things like that, and it gives you efficiency recommendations. Verdium controls PCs. They claim they can save about $30 per year per user on PCs just by putting it into deep sleep mode. And of course, the giants, Intel, Symantec, Google, Cisco, National, Toshiba, you name it, they're all doing it. The second big market, I went blank, sorry. I'm a reporter, as you can tell, I'm not used to these sort of things. Grid optimization, there we go. Smart grid, you've probably heard about it. It's a big market. A little stat here from GE. By just optimizing the grid about 5 to 15 to 20%, we could save about 41 gigawatts of power. That's equivalent of not building 41 nuclear power plants. It's power there, it's being wasted, we've just got to find a way to use it. Solar and wind, as they get more popular, we're going to need better grid optimization. Solar gets to be 20% of our power production, and right now it's about 200. It's a variability that it's really going to play havoc with utilities like PG&E and Southern California Edison and things like that. Why? It's variable. You just can't have a whole neighborhood all of a sudden generating power and then dropping it down. The same thing with wind. Wind is mostly produced at night. Most wind power, people don't have a use for it. It gets dumped. It's produced, but it's dumped by the utility. In Texas right now, utilities, in a very perverse way because of the incentives, they're paying people to keep on their lights and their refrigeration systems and their industrial plants. Just that way they can sell it to somebody and still get the tax benefits. It's true. They're paying people 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour to buy their power, because the state of Texas will give them 5 cents a kilowatt hour if they produce green power. Now, how do you cure that? Grid optimization. Those things in the picture, those are flow batteries. Basically just big batteries where the electrolyte cycles through 24 hours a day. And if wind is being produced at 4 in the morning and power is being generated, these things will store it. And at 4 in the afternoon, when Southern California Edison is in a meltdown state because everybody's got their air conditioners on, these will kick in. Another part about the grid, a little factoid here. A lot of people talk about the smart grid and talk about how the grid is old and inefficient, not very good. The grid's actually pretty good. The problem is it was built before communications existed between machines. So everything is overbuilt. They have to do things through overkill. About 10% of a grid anywhere in the world only goes on about 10% of the time during the year. It's like having employees, paying them the full year, and only having them work 2 weeks. Other big players in here, you're going to see Bechtel, Lockheed, Boeing, GE, Siemens, the sort of utility industrial complex, doing a lot of big projects. And startups, a number of startups, especially in the last 2 years. 3 here are very identical: SmartSync, Silver Spring, and OnRamp. They basically make mesh networking systems that allow your home to communicate with the utility. In California here, we just had a history-making moment this last year where PG&E, the big major utility, knew about an outage before they got a call from a disgruntled user. Usually, utilities only know that there's been an outage when they start getting phone calls from people saying, hey, I'm plunged into darkness, help me out here. They only knew this because they installed Silver Spring equipment, which immediately told them that there were 2 blocks in a certain area that suddenly went off the grid, which it doesn't sound like much, but for them it was a huge deal. Other ones, Beacon Power makes flywheels. They're really up and coming. And Dia Energy, one of the big makers of flow batteries. The third area I call extroverted computing, which is everything else. Putting in intelligence into any kind of device you can think of. One thing you'll see coming out at the end of this year are refrigerators with intelligent defrost cycles. The defrost basically is a small heater in your fridge that heats up to melt ice in the freezer. But it goes off at random times right now. And if it goes off during a peak hour, you could be paying 40 cents a kilowatt hour versus 3 cents. GE, LG, Samsung, a bunch of companies are going to come out with networked refrigerators that defrost cycle will only go on at 2 in the morning and and you really don't care. LED and lighting control is going to be big. Adura and Lumenergy, two companies to watch out for. What they make is a ballast for these lights that you'll see above us, fluorescent tube lights, and they can dim those. They found they can save 50 to 70% of the power used for lighting just by dimming those up and down. You'll also see a lot more windows. As you notice, it's very sunny outside. We really don't need these lights on. If this building were designed differently, we can eliminate all of that right now. But those two companies are doing a lot. Bridgelux, it's building the first fab in Silicon Valley in years. They make LEDs. Redwood Systems makes a networking system for LED lights. Other ones, Optimum Energy, they control heating and air conditioning units. Hara and Carbon Networks give you sort of energy audits for large corporations. EcoFactor will control your heater and your lights in your home. And of course, cars. Tesla, Fisker, Panasonic's doing a lot in batteries. The thing about this part of the market, it's still kind of fictional. Like if you notice that picture, that is a Mini Cooper, but it's only about this big. That's actually my hand on the bumper there. This is a demo that was shown off at HighTech last year in Japan, talking about how like the smart grid is going to change our lives. But like I said, it's not there yet. Anyways, thank you very much. Now I'm going to pass it on to Ralph Munster, who is the director of, let me get his title right,